Welcome back to Up and Adam. I'm Jack Tomczak. That is Andrew Lee. All buttons pushed by Lump. So if there's a mistake, blame her.
Pretty much, yes.
In studio to give us the news from the city pages is reporter Ben Johnson. Good morning again, Ben.
Hey, Jack. How you doing?
I have got 15 minutes until I'm on vacation.
Where are you going?
Florida.
Really?
My brain left an hour ago.
How are you going to get through a week without making any videos for Up and Adam?
I'll bring my laptop with me.
Yeah, he's going to make videos.
He's going to be
Just
creeping
watch.
at the beach.
And I'll be creeping at the beach. Might be a little different videos.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm debating whether or not to continue with that while I'm gone or unplug from this.
I think you're going to make, I think what's going to happen is you're going to make videos with the idea of like, I'm going to bank them up and I'll use them later. But then you just do it because you like making videos.
It's become a thing that I do.
I know. You're enjoying it quite a bit.
Yeah.
Daddy, we want to go on rides. I'm making videos.
I'm rendering. Check out yesterday's video at the Twin Cities News Talk Facebook page. And, of course, follow the station on Twitter at TC News Talk.
Don't get on the Winnie the Pooh ride yet. I'm not done shooting.
I'm bringing my parents. They can take the kids on there. I don't think you can take a 9-month-old on rides. Might not be safe.
Strap them. Get one of those things that straps them to your chest and just go on a roller coaster.
A baby Bjorn.
They've got very
Have them.
slow-moving rides at
Okay.
Disney.
All
Yeah.
right.
They've got age-appropriate rides for Indiana.
And booked an extra room. So I might not come back insane. We'll see.
More insane.
Yeah.
Do you have to check the veal cage, or do they let you carry that on?
No, kids go in the veal cage. Veal cage goes in the cargo part of the plane.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
They'll have coats. All right, Ben, what are we talking about next?
Well, Andrew, you mentioned before the break you wanted to talk about the soccer deal.
Right. Apparently, Minneapolis, Minnesota United FC, becoming an MLS team, building a stadium downtown. We've been covering the request for tax subsidies and tax breaks all week. Well, what I didn't know is that somebody on the city council apparently thinks it's unconstitutional.
Andrew Johnson's been in that chair
Yeah.
on this show. Yeah.
Yeah, Andrew Johnson. I was just calling him yesterday to see where he was leaning. Or I was trying to take the temperature of a bunch of different council members to see, now that Bill McGuire has unveiled his plan to pay for this stadium, which, as far as stadium deals go, is probably the best one we've ever been presented with. I'll say that. You know, I mean,
They're offering to screw us less.
yeah,
Right,
yeah, it's like the
right.
least crappy deal we've ever been offered. But what he wants to do is, he said he'll build it, but as long as he never has to pay property taxes, which no other stadium does, and he doesn't have to pay sales tax on construction materials,
Right.
which they estimate will be roughly $3 million.
And these are provisions that were granted to the Twin Stadium and to the new Viking Stadium.
Here's the difference, though. He wants to own the stadium,
Right.
whereas all the other stadiums are publicly owned.
Correct.
Now, the argument aside is that, why do we want to own these stadiums? Because then we're on the hook for all these upgrades,
Right.
you know, a decade later. But the fact remains, what Andrew Johnson tells me is that, and actually Betsy Hodges wrote on her blog,
Yep.
she has a quote that says, "There's no precedent in Minnesota for a private development being exempted from paying their fair share of property taxes in perpetuity. None."
And they're right. I mean, you know, the big difference between this stadium and the other stadiums is the ownership. The state of Minnesota owns those the Twin Stadium and the Viking Stadium. It's publicly owned. This one is not going to be publicly owned, so the rules are a bit different.
And the rules, I mean, you
They're
know,
right,
I'm
and I
not an
agree with them.
expert, but I read through it. I looked at the state constitution, the clause. There's a ton of exceptions you can make for property tax exemptions,
Okay.
but nowhere in there is there anything close to something like a privately owned sports stadium. So, I mean, this is one of those situations where it probably is a good deal, but, man, if you, like, follow the letter of the law and look at the Constitution, it's just not going to work. He's going to have to come up with a different plan. At least that's the way I saw it, and that's the way City Council member Andrew Johnson saw it.
All right. How much money would be saved if, I think you said this already, but how much money is he seeking to save with the property tax and the sales tax exemption?
Sales tax estimates are roughly $3 million.
That's $3 million for sales tax.
Right now, the properties that he's planning to build on pay roughly $300,000 a year in property taxes. Now, I'm guessing that would go up because right now it's just like kind of rundown industrial.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Right.
So the only way for this to be constitutional is if instead of it being $3 million and
Right.
other for property taxes, is if
Yeah,
the government just gives them him $150 million
And gets the
But
ownership,
own-
gets
but
the
own-
ownership stake.
Isn't that
but on
ridiculous?
paper owns the stadium that Mr. McGuire gets to do whatever the hell he wants with.
Right.
Yeah. That
and then
makes
we
a
have to
lot of
pay
sense.
for all the upgrades in 10
Right.
years when we need new luxury boxes or they'll leave town.
And we don't get to keep any of the profits. It's a good deal.
So it'll be interesting. Were you guys surprised at what a harsh reception McGuire got at the state capitol for his plan? I mean, you figured. I
Yes.
figured they would
Yes.
just be like, you know what? Okay.
Honestly, yes, I was.
Yeah, because Democrats like giving money away to people building stuff and doing things, and especially soccer. I thought they'd be more inclined, but it really just shows how I think nobody cares about soccer. You know, if we didn't have an NFL team, an NFL team came in and wanted this deal, they'd be falling over themselves to give them money.
Right.
But because it's soccer, it's something without really a long history here. Nobody cares.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I was a little surprised. I expected a bit of a warmer reception, at least from Dayton. And Dayton has intimated that he's open to things. I guess, the last person he talked to before he was asked about it was a soccer fan. So he was open to it then. Tom Bach, though, I'm not. Tom Bach's quote made me laugh. I think I've still got the soundbite here. When Tom Bach was talking about how they want some subsidies, and he says,
These are smart guys and women that didn't get to be successful there because they don't understand politics.
Which we took that Tom Bach wants a sack of cash delivered
Right.
to his office.
he was uncontrollably winking
Yeah.
while he was giving the understand
right to the
politics.
wink.
Look what I mean. What's in it for me?
Some wheels need to be greased.
What's in it for Bach?
You know what I think would be great is if this, Minneapolis has that provision in its city charter where if the city puts forward $10 million or more towards a stadium, it has to go to a public vote. Mm-hmm. I would love to see this go to a public vote and see it fail 95-5 or whatever.
And if there were to be a population that would like soccer, it would be Minneapolis, right?
But I mean, I feel like
You would think.
everybody just has stadium fatigue at this point. Like, and especially after the, the worst deal of all, the Taj Mazzigi, as they call it.
No, man. Metrodome 2, the deuce. Make that stick. The deuce.
But it's
This shows
there's
that
no dome.
Republicans- Yeah, Republicans often labeled as like old fuddy-duddies or too conservative. We were cutting edge on stadium fatigue. We've had it for decades. Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Right.
So anyway, it'll be interesting to see if anything comes of this, if McGuire has to tweak his deal. But another interesting angle would be if the state of Minnesota and Minneapolis and everybody just calls us bluff and are like, just build it or
Yeah,
leave.
go ahead.
Because I think he's building it regardless.
I think so, too.
he's gone too far.
Well, would he, even if he could, which I don't know if he can, threaten to move? Nobody would care because it's not like it's a thing you're
Right.
taking away. It's something that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Oh,
move
goodness.
the team to what? Blaine. Blaine doesn't want it.
Got some calls. Take Jeff in Cokato. Jeff,
Good
good
morning.
morning.
Yeah, good morning, guys. I'm confused. Is he asking for money or are they offering it?
Asking.
He's asking for tax breaks. He's asking.
Okay,
he's
for-
asking to be
yeah.
exempt from
Property.
a sales tax on construction materials and
Okay.
exempt from property taxes.
Yeah, he's an audacious fellow. If he thinks the state's going to give him a warm reception with it when he comes in with an offer like that, for all those years he was the face of corporate greed because all the money he dipped out of what was it, United Healthcare or Alina.
United Health.
He's retired from there now, but he's still, he still lived the life of Riley of the money that he dipped out of an insurance company that was supposed to be taking care of its,
So you think some of the reception is based on his
I think
history
so.
and his notoriety?
I think so. I'm not saying I believe that, but
Yeah,
I
wouldn't
kinda
surprise me.
do. I kind of do.
Okay.
It's kind of hypocritical for them to give him that kind of reception when they made him that way.
Yeah, it is a bit odd when you think about it. I mean, you got a group of people that's willing to spend close to $200 million on this stadium, and they are asking for tax breaks that amount to what, 3 to 4 million. It's like,
Right.
come on, you know.
The way it breaks down is they're doing 120 for the stadium, 30 for the land, and then $100 million franchise fee. And now they're like, but just give us-
$100 million the franchise fee
MLS is
for
hot right now.
MLS.
Yeah, soccer is the next big
Wow.
thing. Actually,
No, it's not.
I had a
You could offer me an MLS franchise for free, and I'd say no. Does UHG have a reputation for screwing people over? If it does, I'm unaware of it. If it does,
yeah, I'm not.
I don't know.
the
That
background.
was
No, but check out this quote from Councilmember Andrew Johnson. He was talking about how soccer is the next big thing, and he said, it's a league that's growing rapidly. It's like investing in Google 10 years ago. It could be. I mean,
maybe. I don't know. You know, every other place in the world loves it. Like, well, they'll murder people over that sport. You know, they really like it. So maybe I'm just missing something. Conrad in St. Louis Park. Good morning, Conrad.
Well, here we go. Stadium boondoggle once again. Let me ask you a question. Aren't the Polads also involved in this deal?
I believe they are part of the ownership group.
I just
Yeah, you
assume
think they have
everything's
any
owned
experience in
partially.
how to fleece the public? I shouldn't say that on the radio. How to work the public for funds on stadiums? It just seems that one, the property tax savings is worth every penny of, you know, whatever it costs to invest in the stadium. They'll get it back in spades over perpetuity. What's the annual property taxes on that property once they develop it? 20, 30 million a year?
yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
something nobody really knows. I mean,
10
right,
years is 300 million. It's like, what a good deal. Here, I'll build this, and just don't tax me, and we'll be okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks, Conrad. And here's where Andrew and I differ. I'm okay with them getting a sales tax exemption to build something. I'm fine with that. But the property tax, that is, if the stadium isn't there, something else is there paying property taxes.
Right.
So then you are losing something.
and right now it's kind of like a blighted, out of the way, you know, industrial area, and they're raking in $300,000.
You would think somebody like Bill McGuire would be better at negotiating. I mean, he's already committed to building the stadium. He's already committed to the location. What incentive does the city have to give him these breaks?
And he should have started with, yes, we'd like public financing for a stadium. And then worked to this point.
Yeah.
And people just said, oh, sure, fine. The other caller said, where does he get the gall to go to the Capitol and ask for special treatment? I don't know. Looking at every other stadium.
Right.
in this
Yeah,
town.
he would have been stupid not to ask for something
Of
when
course.
everybody else
It's
got
the worst
one.
they could do, say no.
The one time somebody privately financed a stadium was Harv and Marv back in with the Target
Center?
and like 3 years later they were begging the city to bail them out of it.
Yeah. Again, I've said this before. If they do this without public funding or public tax breaks, whatever,
Yeah.
I will put my best effort into being a soccer fan
And
try,
the returns
just
argument,
to reward them.
the returns argument doesn't work anymore, because if there really were that big of returns, there would be millionaires and billionaires lining up trying to build stadiums everywhere.
Right.
Because there's money to be made at it. The reason they go and they get this public financing and they get these subsidies is because they know ultimately it's a bit of a money losing proposition.
Is it though? I mean, I bet you they or is it just like a vanity
It's just so
project?
expensive. I mean, the costs are outrageous.
That's why I don't own a stadium.
You don't have like a field of dreams in your backyard for your little.
Okay, it's very small. It's very small. All right, thank you, Ben Johnson with the City Page. Always appreciate you.
Yeah, I love coming on.
I'm leaving for a week. Don't burn
Yeah.
the place down, Andrew.
I'll try not to.
Lump.
We'll see you next week.
I'll try to restrain myself from burning everything here.
Jack, have
I'll
a good
start.
vacation.
That's part of your personality I was unaware of.
I'll start with your chair.
I'm taking this with me. I don't trust anybody here. All right.
Jack, have a good vacation. I'll be here on Monday with Mike and Brian from the Wrong About Everything podcast, and we'll be joined by Chris Ann Hall on Monday.
Here's a look at the roads brought to you by